interesting. I'd just like to dive into that a bit further. I know you said that you've pulled from a lot of Celtic influences and references. I was wondering, in terms of like the gods and the magic system, is there any kind of historical myths or civilizations other than the Celtics that you've pulled from?
I really am also drawn to Norse mythology,
Hmm.
and I really like system or religions or mythologies that have a lot of different gods, like polytheistic religions. So I liked that idea of taking these multi-god religions and seeing how the gods interact with one another, because that's a huge plot line in book three is how the gods interact with one another and how that affects all the other characters down the line. So having that sort of crazy interaction between the gods, I definitely pulled from other mythologies.
Wow, that's amazing. So crafting a compelling, young adult protagonist isn't easy. I mean, we've all come across, those YA protagonists that, we love, and then some of them were like, I don't know. So what were some things you wanted to avoid while writing Maeve, and some things you absolutely wanted to include in her character?
Yeah, so my biggest focal point when it came to writing my characters was to have really ordinary people in fantastic situations. So it was very important to me that my characters had or reflected the mental health issues that I've always struggled with my whole life. I wanted that representation, especially as someone who struggles with anxiety and depression. So, with all of my book series, my female protagonists tend to take on some type of aspect of my own mental health. So, Maeve is my anxiety. She has panic attacks throughout these series, and I wanted to really make sure I didn't. I wanted to give people a really good inside scoop of what that feels like to have anxiety, because I've read so many stories where these characters they go off and they fight these wars and they just kind of take them so easily. And I feel like if a war was set on your shoulders, like you're going to crumble, your morality is going to be thrown through the window, you're going to have to make tough choices, and you're not going to handle this as smoothly as you probably think you are. So that was really important to me to have those moments with my characters where they have the self-doubt, they have the anxiety, they don't know what they're doing, and they're just trying to figure it out as they go along. So I think that kept my characters really grounded and avoided the Mary Sue tendencies that I think a lot of fantasy series can lean towards.
So, as the writer, is there a character that you just love, or like you just generally, or and on the flip side, is there someone that you're like, I would side eye them a bit, or maybe not?
Yeah, one of my favorite characters to write his name is Myron. He's in the entire series, but he is one of those characters who just says whatever is on his mind. And that is so much fun to write because I'm very much an overthinker. I will always overprocess everything I say, and after I've said it, I'll think about it for days. So just having this one character who blurts out anything and everything is so much fun to write, and it's liberating because it's everything I want to say, but I never will. So it brings the comedy, it brings the flair that I think maybe some other characters might be lacking. There were definitely some characters where, as I was writing them, I won't name names, but as I was writing them, I was kind of like, they didn't turn out how I thought they would. Like, because I like to think characters kind of take on their own sense of self and they make their own decisions. It's not necessarily what I think should happen, but I like to think that these characters make their own choices. So some of them, as I was fleshing them out, I was like, oh, they're not who I initially thought they were.